Let's get it started.
Baseline. Gon' do it. Yep.
Yeah.
Come on. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Come on.
What you want to call it?
Cause it's the Porch Podcast. Come on. It's the Porch Podcast.
Come on.
Said it's the Porch Podcast.
Come on.
Said it's the Porch Podcast. Come on.
It's the Porch Podcast. I'm home.
Right.
Influential. You already know I'm in the zone.
Right.
I got nachos tonight. What's up? Episode 34. You know we call it Chuck. We talking Sir Charles.
Yep.
Mr. Barkley.
Right.
Whether on the Phoenix Sun, Sixers on the Spark.
Brown man.
That's it. The brown man from Auburn. He used to duck. Maybe he burned. I don't know, but I just want to say this.
Right.
Influential is the illest on this mad twist.
Come
and I
on.
gotta keep going. Gotta keep flowing.
Yes, sir.
Porch Podcast, so you know we keep growing.
Yep.
Know why?
Cause it's the Porch Podcast. Come on, huh? It's the Porch Podcast.
Come on, huh?
Yes. It's the Porch Podcast. Come on,
huh?
Said it's the Porch Podcast.
Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go. Let's
Yep.
go. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yes, sir. I love it when my man get that yellow button right.
Let's go. Welcome to the Porch Podcast. Welcome to the Porch Podcast. It's your boy DJ E, Mr. Influential, and I'm rocking with my brother.
Be original.
Listen, Pete. That was we episode 34 in it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
34
Yes, sir.
in it, and we calling this one Chuck.
Chuck. And as y'all can see, the Dark Knight has arrived.
Oh, he got on the Batman shirt.
Guess we know who Robin is. You see him with his red shit on.
So let's let.
For those who can see, if you're listening in Radio Land, yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Let me
man.
ask you this, because I'm gonna sit here and eat. Since we talking about brown mound,
shit, smacking. Go ahead. Yeah, the brown mound.
let me ask you this question.
Go ahead. Go ask me what?
Good question. Ask you a question right, let me ask you a question right here.
Go ahead, brother.
Was Chuck Batman? Was he Robin?
Was Chuck Batman or Robin? Chuck was Robin at one point. Definitely was Robin at one point.
To who?
You know, the Doc.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I'm not even gonna say he was Robin there. Wasn't Moses on that thing? Mo Cheeks and them?
well, Mo, yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean,
He was a rookie though. He was a rookie, so you gotta
Right, he definitely couldn't have been,
Robin
you know.
right there, right away.
Yeah, I mean, we talking about, come on now. The Doc, you know. So, yeah, but you know what, though? The one thing that you knew about Chuck
right.
is that he clearly was somebody who knew he had to surpass all the odds.
Exactly.
Like he was like a small big, man.
Yeah, he was a small power forward.
Yeah, and I remember like when I would hear like his attributes in terms of like his height and shit like that, I was like he always plays so much bigger.
Yeah, 6'4". I was watching this YouTube video the other day.
Right.
He was talking about, and everybody that's watching, please forgive me. I had to, a busy day. I hustle a lot, I'm eating everything. But they was asking who was,
Eating everything.
This bullshit here, man.
What do you mean you eating everything, man?
I'm eating and everything. I'm like doing everything at once.
There's a difference, bruh.
Okay,
There's
all
a
right.
difference between saying eating everything and eating and everything else I'm doing. You know what I mean? Go ahead. But you breaking it down. You explaining.
I eat a
You
lot
had
of
busy
shit,
day.
you know what I mean? I
You
eat
eat a lot of shit. Yeah, you on the roll. You on the roll, man. Finish your meal, man.
Listen to me, bro.
Yeah, I'm listening.
For the video, was talking about who they was thinking was the greatest of all time.
Oh, another GOAT conversation.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So, but it was coming from other NBA players.
Got you.
So Shaq, he was going through it. He was like, me and Will Chamberlain, dominant centers. He was like, guards. He was like, two guard, Michael Jordan, He said, but power forwards, you got Karl Malone and Chuck. Chuck was sitting right there.
There you
know what I
go.
mean? Some people,
Well, that was nice of him to say that.
'cause
they like to get at each other.
they like to really get at each other, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Shout out, first of all, shout out to my lady for making this food right now. That shit, I just tore this shit up, man. We clap it up. Go on, Pete. Go talk to him right there.
Nah, man. I mean, Chuck, man, like I said, for me, if you didn't know his actual height, man, he played so much bigger. But one of the things I think I remember the most about him is that he always wanted you to know that he wasn't a role model, man.
Yeah, he wasn't a role model. He wasn't a role model.
He definitely was like, I'm very comfortable with being Chuck.
I am not a role model.
Yeah, so tell your kids, they might want to look at somebody else. I ain't the guy they want to look at. And I always thought, like, damn, at first, initially when you hear it, it's like, damn.
He mean as hell.
Yeah, like, why wouldn't you want to be, you're a person that's in the limelight, you know what I mean? And people watch you all the time, and they buy your jerseys, and they come and support you, playing basketball. And they'd be like, well, how you going to say that my kids don't need to look at you like a role model? But they look up to you.
Yeah.
What about my son that's not as tall as his friends, but, plays his heart out?
Right.
Because and it calls himself Sir Charles, running up around. You know what I mean? Like, how do you turn around and at that point be like, I'm not a role model? It took me some time to understand it, though.
Right.
Initially, I was a little bit shocked.
Right.
You know what I mean? They questioned me in terms of my thinking about how talented he was, because I didn't lose no respect for him as a basketball player.
Nah.
But, I did kind of think if you didn't have a role model in your life and you was looking for one, like in our case, we had Pop, we had, our uncles, older cousins. We had all kind of people.
I thought you said Petey was your role model.
No, we just knew Petey. Petey wasn't my role. Here's the thing, though. He was an underdog, too.
Definitely was an underdog.
He was an underdog, too, because we talked about how he seemed really out of place when you really think about him.
Right.
And not only did he survive in our environment, I mean, he thrived.
Yeah.
So, I didn't want to be
really
Petey,
wonder
but I
what
did
he
respect
doing.
him.
The real Petey might be a lawyer or some shit right
He
now.
might. I mean, he had the potential to do a lot of stuff. I mean, and let's be honest. I mean, you only got 2 arms, 2 legs. You can only get bit for so many times.
Oh, shit. Clap it up for him. Clap it up for him. No, that's legendary right there. Petey's a legend.
Yeah.
Everybody, Petey's a legend.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Petey's a legend.
And for those who wonder, he's not a fictional character.
Nah.
Like,
It's
Petey actually exists. And I know people want to know.
who the fuck Petey is.
Yeah, I mean, he's really a person.
Right.
We really want to know where the hell he is. Like,
Yeah.
if by chance you're watching this, we miss you, buddy. We just want to know how the hell you're doing, man.
Hey, little buddy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And if you're an Esquire now or a doctor or something, hey, man, congratulations.
Or he could
What?
be locked up for selling crystal meth. We don't know. We don't know what happened to him, man.
It's damn sure coin flip.
Yeah.
Damn sure coin flip. I mean, because we tell some of the things, but I mean, some things, how they say you change names to protect the innocent.
Right.
Like, he could have went either way.
And
He could have went PhD or Tommy off of fucking Power.
Listen, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
But I'm going to speak on this because you was talking about role models and us being from the city of Trenton, and
Absolutely.
our hometown. I want to give a special shout out. Mm-hmm. Everybody is pronounced this way. A thing Mo. It's spelled Moo.
Nice.
A thing Mo.
Nice. Give me a round on that one. Definitely.
We got a gold medalist from Trenton, New Jersey, 19 years old. Shout out to Mr. Jennings.
Yes,
been teaching track
congratulations.
forever, and everybody else that was on her coaching on because she was on a different
Absolutely.
track group or whatever.
Right.
I can't think of everybody's
Right.
name.
Give
I
her
seen
flowers.
them.
Go ahead and give her
I seen
flowers.
them, yeah.
Go ahead and give her
Gold
flowers.
medal when she was running though. Mm-hmm. Did you see the race?
I did.
And we know she won. It literally looked like she was jogging the whole
Yeah.
damn time.
Yeah. I mean,
She ain't nobody catching her.
nah. I mean, clearly, that's how talented she is.
Yeah. 19.
Like I was like you. I was like, it seemed like they ain't running that fast. But I'm gonna tell you something. When you
That
sit
shit
your ass
fast.
on the couch,
Yeah.
all kind of shit seem right. Until you really got to do it.
Brought the gold medal home,
But
though.
definitely.
Not just for Trenton, but for the United States of America.
How about
Clap
that?
it up one more time.
Clap it up for. That's what I'm saying. Congratulations, man. And like you say, we always talk about all of these, other things and that's transpiring in life, and it's
Right.
nice to be able to take the time to recognize, something great like that.
Yeah. Something grape?
Yeah, I didn't say great, brother.
Oh, okay.
Because you just finished eating, so you could have heard anything. All kind of food and
Yeah, some. But here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Let's think about it like this. When you was younger, and Barkley said he wasn't a role model.
Right.
Now, of course, we had local role models, but everybody had somebody on TV that they might have looked up to and everything. And you being a Sixers fan and all this type of stuff, and definitely cheering for the Bulls. Was Barkley a role model of yours? Even though he said he wasn't?
You know what? I think I was impressed once again, just to reiterate that I didn't know these guys' heights and stuff like that. Right. So I didn't look at him as a undersized anything.
Right.
Like I always just looked at him as, you know what I mean?
As Charles Barkley.
As Charles Barkley. So I'm not gonna say it surprised me when he said what he said, because if you think about how he played like he didn't give a shit how people thought about it. When you added it up later, he only said he was really in alignment with how he was as a person. I'm assuming.
I was telling somebody, if you remember this. Remember when we used to go to the games when we was young?
Right.
And Barkley he would do that dunk, that two-hand dunk real hard.
Absolutely.
Remember I thought the shot clock was like a test meter to how hard he dunked and shit?
I do remember
that shit? Yeah. You remember that shit? I was telling somebody about it, telling my man Dre that the other day. He said,
it's a lot of goofy shit that you thought that you worked out through therapy, man. I'm glad to see everything worked out.
With this therapy shit. He said he was wrong, but you was on to something.
Yeah. Hey, you thought it was a dunk meter.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I thought it was a dunk
I remember now that you're saying it, though.
Yeah. I was like, look, it went to 24. Yeah. That's the highest it could go. That was just the shot clock starting over.
So what happened if he would have caught that bitch with 2 seconds left? You'd have been like, oh, it was...
The meter was broke.
Meter broke tonight. Exactly. Exactly. People were like, what the hell?
For real, he would dunk it.
Yeah.
And then after he dunk it, go back up. Next thing you know, this is what I heard.
Nah, no.
That's what I heard.
I'm saying when we was kids and we went to those games and stuff
was
like
magical.
that, it was magical. I can remember one moment though when you realized shit was real. Fast break, Dr. J's on the fast break.
Shit.
And he laid that bitch up.
Yeah. And
I said it's over.
Yeah. Now,
he ain't yam that bitch.
Can you remember the teams that we seen him play? I remember some of them. I remember three games. Yeah. As a kid, P, and this is a big deal. And family, listen, our mom and dad took us to the game. We seen them playing against the Washington Wizards. Absolutely. I don't remember who was the star. Was Bernard King on there? I don't know.
I'd have to look it up.
However, I do remember going to see Detroit with Isaiah. We seen Zeke, bro, as young boys. And I do remember him taking us to see when they played Larry Bird, Boston.
Yeah.
We was young boys. Now that you older, you kind of understand who you went to go see.
Definitely have much more of an appreciation for it now. Right. I don't think we didn't appreciate. I don't think we knew. I don't think we didn't know.
That's what I'm saying. The magnitude, like, bitch, that's Larry Bird.
I know I didn't. And
now, the time I only seen Mike once, and he was playing against AI, and my goddad took me to go see that. Now, that wasn't the game with the crossover. That was the same season, but not that game.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But the same season. I was like, bitch, if I'd have been at that game, oh my God. Because they was in Philly when he did that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? They was in Philly when AI did that. And who else did that? Now I seen Kobe a couple times against the Sixers. I seen Kobe. I seen his last game in Philly. The last one he played in Philly. I seen that game.
Oh man, I bet you think about it, think back to it and then realize.
I seen LeBron too.
With you, absolutely.
With the Lakers, right. And I seen it with Cleveland.
But I bet
championship season.
Absolutely. When you saw, the Mamba, you didn't,
Yeah, you didn't.
It don't register in your mind that would turn out that way. Chuck played 15 years, man.
Right, he did.
Played 15 years. He I didn't realize, he played his last 4 seasons with the Rockets.
Yeah.
Before that, he was with Phoenix for 4, and then everything before that
was Sixers.
Was the Sixers, yeah. And he like I said, I got it later. I didn't get it initially when he was saying he wasn't a role model, but then there was more to that. I can't remember everything about the interview. Someone asked him. I don't think that, or if it was something like that, I don't think Chuck just randomly ran around and said, I'm not your kid's role model.
Yeah.
I think it was something that, because what happened was...
He got some type of trouble, I think it was.
He did.
Yeah.
He got into some kind of trouble,
Yeah.
And
it might not have been legal trouble.
no. But it was something that made him like, how you hear things and you say, okay, nobody randomly just says like that shit had to come from something else.
I think it was something with a woman. Because he was cheating on his wife or something. I'm not. Don't mark me if I'm.
No.
And he got interviewed and everybody was like, I think they was like, well, you're supposed to be a role model. And he was like, I'm not a role model.
That's
I never
right.
said I was a role model.
Right.
Y'all making me into a role model. That's pretty much what it was. And then when he was speaking on it, it's like, I'm not a role model. I don't want you to be like me. However, I am human. And I
think that's more what
and
it
I'm
was.
gonna do what I want, because this what made me think about it. That's the title of this episode, which is called Chuck. Best of Saturday Night Live.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Nah, go ahead.
Chuck, Mo Muck, Banana Fanta Folk. Remember he got smacked.
Right.
He was smacked in the mouth.
The shit smacked.
Yeah, but that was Eugene. Was that Eugene Levy or some dude? He's still on Schitt's Creek. That's the name of the show. I think he said it.
He might, Chuck said that in 1993, just to kind of bring that back for y'all. You know what I mean?
Phoenix Chuck.
Charles Barkley told the world that he wasn't a role model in a controversial Nike TV spot that got the world talking. So that's actually, when you actually heard it. Once again, I think initially it was a shock to people because people look at how they invest into people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when you, like, if it was me that said it, ain't
nobody care.
Like 3 people would be upset. You know what I'm saying?
You're home.
Yeah, that's it. Know what I mean? Ain't even going to be 3 people I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In Chuck's case, you know what I mean? You got people that's, I'm going to bring my son or my daughter or my family to come and see you play. I think that you're this is exceptional player. And then at some point or another, you make a statement that I'm not a role model.
Right.
I mean, I know you probably have, a more in-depth meaning why you said it.
Right.
But it's a shock.
I still respect Chuck for saying what he was saying and sticking with his truth of it. Like,
yeah,
y'all not gonna make me be what y'all want me to be.
Nah. I mean,
I'm gonna be me, man. If I want to tell you I ain't a role model and turn around and tell you to kiss my ass right now, I'm gonna tell you that. That was Chuck.
This is the actual quote in its entirety.
Okay, let's go.
I am not a role model. I'm not paid to be a role model. I'm paid to wreak havoc on the basketball court. Parents should be role models. Just because I dunk a basketball doesn't mean I should raise your kids.
Right.
See, it's funny because for the longest it just stopped at I'm not a role model.
Right.
But I just read the rest of the actual quote to you.
And let's think about this. Chuck was born what year? 60.
He's 58. I know he's 58 now.
Just look it up. If that was 93, we could do that math. Just see what year he was born with.
Yeah, I look it up. Go ahead and make the point that you was about to make.
He was only 20-something years old.
Very young.
If 30, yeah, 30
he was
maybe.
In 94, he made that statement.
30-something. 30,
so,
30
you got to figure in 94. Shit, we doing math at Earth Angel, y'all.
Yeah.
So we off, you know what I mean? 58 now. We're going to take 21 years off. What we looking at there? 37. We're going to take another 6. So, 31.
Yeah.
Chuck was, he wasn't
I know. I said a lot
boy.
of crazy shit at 31.
Oh, yeah.
I say shit about at 40. Bitch, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. But to add to that situation or to be able to, and I'm not so much even defending it, but when you look at it in its entirety, once again, I'm just going to read it. It went away. Shit'll be back. I don't know. I mean, he snatched the shit out of the whole thing right here. That was impressive. I guess he's not a damn role model. Fuck, he snatched all the words and shit up. What the fuck?
Hey, get it back, Batman.
All right, I got
get
him
it back, Batman.
That's Dark Knight's got him back. Like I said, just to reiterate the entire quote, I am not a role model.
I am not a role model.
I'm not paid to be a role model. I'm paid to wreak havoc on the basketball court.
Right.
Parents should be role models. Just because I dunk a basketball doesn't mean I should raise your kids.
Yeah, let's clap that.
So now that we talked about that, and we bringing that up because we talking about my man Chuck. When you really think about it, Once you get a little deeper and get beyond in the actual quote, beyond the whole "I'm not a role model" and understand, I think what Chuck basically was saying is that
Bitch, that's your job.
that's your job.
Yeah, that's your job. That's what
Like when I had kids, I'm not gonna drop them off at your house because you know JoJo who bought tickets to the last game. I'm not gonna do it. You understand what I'm saying? So that whole shit, like I get it now.
Right.
But I'm not gonna say that that at that time period I would have really kind of understood it the same way. You know what I mean?
I get exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure. I mean, like, shit, I was still young. When I was 16.
Right.
But I was old enough to understand.
Yeah.
Like, damn, like, even if you really felt like that, you shouldn't say no shit like that.
But what it is when you younger like that, too, you forget the fact that, you don't forget it, but you hold them at a different level. People are defined by their title. So because he's a legendary basketball player, but at that time he was a superstar basketball player, we think that they're gonna always say what people would make politically correct, right thing.
Very good point. Very good point.
And he did say the right thing.
Yeah.
He said the truth.
Yeah.
Exactly how he felt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they created a different narrative by omitting the rest of the actual quote.
Right. Because let's talk about like when you sit back and you think about it. And I tell people all the time, a lot of people call Mike the GOAT. Mm-hmm. And Mike was one person that was always prepared, always ready.
That's
always
true.
going to rise to the occasion, got that killer instinct. But to me, who had the biggest influence on the game was AI. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's why I call AI.
On court, off court, right?
Right. The best who never done it. That's what I call it.
I get it.
I get it. And the reason why I say that is because he walked around, he was rapping, cornrows in his hair, tattoo sleeves, all that. And they looked at him like baggy shorts.
Yep.
And then before you know it, the whole league was doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely influenced. He definitely influenced him.
He was the one who influenced that. He brought it to his culture. He brought the culture of hip hop to a full
word.
You know what I mean?
Word.
To the game. But
that was my man.
They was sitting there and they said to him, "Oh, why can't you be more clean cut like Michael or do like this? Michael doesn't do this and Michael doesn't do that." And AI was the face at the time. Mm. He said, with all due respect, fuck Mike. I'm not Mike. I'm Allen.
Yeah, well, you could have said anything. You could have said, because you got Mike already. I don't need to do what the fuck Mike doing.
But
I'm going to do what I'm doing.
But at the same time, Barkley making that statement, even though it's for a Nike commercial, and I applaud Nike again for that. Because Nike always found a way to be groundbreaking.
Yeah, because they was rolling the dice. Right. That shit could have went a different way,
but they still haven't stopped rolling the dice. Because even when the world and America and NFL turned around and turned their back on Kaepernick, they uplifted him and had him doing all types of Nike commercials.
Absolutely.
They always do that.
Yeah, they take advantage of the opportunity.
Right.
That's a good thing.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because they like, yo, we're so good at what we do.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We don't have to do this to sell sneakers.
No.
Sneakers is already selling. We telling you we for the cause. We for the situation.
Right. So
we're so for it that we don't feel like we gambling. We just standing by these truths.
That's right.
At the time.
Right.
So you thinking of 93, it was a different time.
Yeah. No, it was very
it was
different.
A different time.
Very different. You just pointed out, like, even
know what I mean?
With AI and his thumbprint that he had put on the game, to the point where the NBA really had to kind of like say, look, we better get a hold on this.
Right.
And started to kind of impose some rules where how you had to dress on the sidelines and things of that nature. Because, and I'm not going to go too deep in that and speculate anything, because I don't know anybody, in charge of that organization. But what I will say is that if you remember anything about that time frame,
right,
you can remember how guys dressed, how they moved, how they interacted outside of that, and it's different now.
And if you didn't wear a suit, you was gonna get fined. And everybody thought AI was gonna get fined. And he was coming in with some of the illest suits on.
Yeah.
And may rest in peace, man. My old guy I used to work with, Charlie. Charlie was a good guy. He said, Rainey, you know who the first person that's going to get, Charlie was older when he retired, that's going to get fined? I said, I don't know. I said, everybody thinks it's Allen Iverson. He said, no. Iverson knows why he's part of the reason why they're doing this. He said, Tim Duncan, man. I just can't see him in a suit. He always got sweatsuits on. Have you ever seen him wear anything other than a sweatsuit? And then you sit back and think about it. The big fundamental, bro, whenever he wasn't even playing, he had on a regular sweatsuit all the time. It's like, I'm always ready to ball, man. I'm always ready to ball. And I was giving, let me see if you remember this too. I just asked him this question the other day. All right. First of all, when Shaq played for LSU, he was one of the stars, but he wasn't the star of the team. Do you remember who was the star of the team?
I do not. But I remember Shaq playing for LSU.
Right.
And that's a shame because
we was talking about it the other day.
Yeah, I should know who this person is. It's eluding me at the moment. No.
Okay. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Chris Jackson. Chris Jackson was the star of LSU.
Okay.
Now, I took them even further, and they didn't remember this. I said when Tim Duncan played for Wake Forest.
Right.
He was nice. He was one of the stars, but he wasn't the star of the team. Do you remember who it was?
For Wake Forest?
Yeah, it's hard. A lot of people don't, because he didn't have his.
And it wasn't Travis Best? No. Nah. No, you said Wake Forest.
Wake Forest. Who Best played for? Georgetown? Nah, Travis Best.
Tech.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Nah. That's what Marbury played for Georgia Tech too. Right?
True.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you who it was.
Who was it, bro?
Randolph Childress.
I remember Randolph Childress.
Childress was nasty, bitch.
Yeah, I remember.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So we was talking about college because I had another one I had with him today. Because, the Lakers who was old as shit, right. You know what I mean? But, they still got it together. Mm-hmm. They picked up Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Trevor Rivas.
Yeah. All the dads and shit.
Wayne Ellington. Right? That's his
all
name.
The fathers.
They did get some guards though. You see the guards they got?
They got about $14 left. Man. So whoever wanted to
Kendrick
play for that.
None. Play for my and Monk.
I like Malik Monk.
Yeah. So I know you're gonna know the answer to this. I said today we was at work. I said they got Monk. I didn't know that. I said who did Malik Monk play in the backcourt with in college?
He played with
was
it De'Aaron Fox?
That's it.
Yeah,
that's when the game was the purest.
I remember that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what's crazy? I want to just, before we get too far going away from it, the NBA dress code, was created October the 17th, 2005.
Right.
Check out what the guidelines were on that dress code.
Let me hit it.
No chains, pendants, or medallions worn over clothes.
AI.
No sunglasses in buildings.
AI.
No headgear of any kind.
AI.
No jerseys unless approved by the team.
AI.
And no headphones.
AI.
Look at the three people in this picture. Y'all ain't gonna be able to see it, but I can tell y'all. It's AI, LeBron James, and Tim Duncan. Then your boy just say something.
Tim Duncan.
I wanted you to see that because of that.
That's what I was saying.
So shout out to the brother that
Charlie.
you said
That's Charlie. May he rest in peace, man.
Yeah.
Charlie be still alive right now. Charlie be about 86, 87, man. He lived.
People probably don't even remember that picture of LeBron with the chain on, with the Jesus piece and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But
LeBron also said,
what's that?
He liked Mike's game. Of course, everybody want to shoot and play like Mike. He said, but I wanted to be Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that when you look at, and I always say this, when people revolutionize anything, there's always going to be a part that they want to acknowledge, and there's always going to be a part that they want to kind of stay away from or diminish from that person.
But the one thing that I always respect about LeBron, when it came to AI, he never ran from no part of AI.
Right.
If you ever watch the documentary "Shut Up and Dribble," I think it's a three-part episode. I think the last 15 minutes of episode 1, it's all about AI.
Right.
Because remember, he made that documentary "Shut Up and Dribble" because the news lady just told him to shut up and dribble because he was speaking out on Trump. Right? So when he was talking about this, he was talking about how people, from our culture will speak out and do that. And so I think he talked about himself first, because you know what pretty much influenced it, and then he went into the whole thing. Hey, have you ever seen Shut Up and Drew? I think it's on Showtime, so you can watch it for free. You'll like it.
I mean, it sounds dope.
Yeah, you'll like it.
I never had a chance to see it.
Yeah, definitely like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I think that, like I said, you know, anytime you look at any points, somebody did something that was like a little out of the norm, so to speak.
Right.
It's always some parts that they want to keep and some other parts they want to scrutinize. Like I said, even if you guys go and do it yourself and like look up, you know, the dress code thing we talking about with the NBA. It said the dress code was developed with the intention of combating image problems that had plagued the NBA.
Right.
And I'm trying to remember, what image problems were you talking about? Now, I didn't make this up.
Right.
So when you guys go and look for it, you'll find it unless they change it.
Right.
But they actually made it seem on one hand that it was being done to combat, you know, some issues. Now, when I see image is how it's viewed.
Right.
Right? That's what image is, on how something is viewed.
Right.
So what was the problem? Because of the fact that, you know, there was a culture
Right.
that was there.
It's a culture shift.
But we ain't gonna go, I ain't gonna go too deep. I'll back out in a minute, but I just want to say this. If who I am as a person
Right.
can't be on full display as well as my talents and my abilities,
Right.
then I have to question what the whole intent is.
Exactly.
Or what my value is to that situation.
That goes back to earlier in the show when I told you when they questioned, the only reason why they questioned AI and said to him, why can't you be more like Michael? Michael's not this, not that, and in all due respect, fuck Mike. I'm not Mike. It's because of the influence that he had. Right?
Absolutely.
It's the influence because here's the thing. Dennis Rodman probably was the wildest person doing the craziest shit in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
But he wasn't,
at some point,
he wasn't necessarily leading a nation of people to be like, they weren't dressing up and cross-dressing and doing the stuff that he was doing.
Right.
People was walking around wearing cornrows. People was walking around getting tattoos, wearing big chains. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Wearing a hat. It's just like, you know, I was watching a video the other day. It was a snippet of an interview of Jim Jones on the Earn Your Leisure podcast. Right? Yeah, we're gonna get to it. Shout out to Earn Your Leisure, right? But yeah. And Jim Jones was talking about urban wear being the knockoff of real stuff.
I think I seen that.
Right. And what he meant by was he was saying like Rockaware, Sean John, all that was knockoff. He said when we grew up in New York, I said I never wore none of that shit. When we grew up in New York, that's not what we wanted. We wanted who was selling the official velour. It was we always went and bought Polo. We always was buying Tommy Hilfiger. So when a person started making the urban wear versions of that, it wasn't created for New York. It was created for the people in middle of America that was influenced by the hip hop culture. So people like Diddy and Jay and Dame and all of them understood, listen, they want to be us.
Right.
So let's make us put our own clothes on, make this. And guess what? In Idaho, bitch, they going to sell out. That's why 80 Miller like 18 months. You can bullshit with rap if you want, motherfuckers. Like,
it happened.
But when you sit back and you think about it, he made the statement. He said, you know what the number one urban wear used to be every year? And I ain't never had none of that shit. Paco jeans. He said because Paco was one of the first ones. They said, just like FUBU. He said, man, I've never wore FUBU, man. Yeah, he said, I'm not knocking them because they're geniuses. He said, but that's what they did. They knew that hip-hop had this thing. So go back to the NBA. Yeah. The culture and the understanding that AI started to take, you know what I mean, is what bothered them.
Clearly. They make shit. They redid the dress code.
Now, all three of them right there that they talked about had no problem voicing their opinion either.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Tim Duncan probably was the more quiet one of them, but when he would talk, he gonna say what the fuck he want to say.
Yeah. I don't. And my thing with those guys, I think they understood their value. You know, to themselves first and foremost. Even with Chuck with the saying, that's why we keep kind of like I keep reiterating. I think he understood his value.
But that's what I meant to say before you're gonna not to cut your wisdom.
No, go ahead, bro.
So if Chuck was the first person doing stuff like that we can think of. Other than, because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did it before us.
Correct.
Okay? Then it's safe to say, even when Chuck said he wasn't a role model, he was. Because these guys,
yeah.
these guys.
Well, you can
still
be an
want their
inspiration and not be a role model.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah.
I laughed at you. I meant to do this.
No doubt.
But we was just speaking. We were just speaking on Jimmy.
Yeah. Wow. Well, listen, man. I know it's been a little more than a week since. Shit, I ain't the only one who saw it. You know, I think everybody had some talent that was there that night.
Mm-hmm.
Just think there was one side that was clearly just a little better that night. Maybe that was just their night.
Well,
I think every night will be their night, though. But
I think this.
Yeah. Was it a fair fight?
It was, but here's the thing.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Remember, and it's a 30 for 30 out called 42-1.
Okay.
It's about Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you remember, but remember we felt like Mike got robbed because when he knocked Buster Douglas down, that 10
Was it like the punch heard around the world or some shit like that?
But remember Mike, because Mike got knocked out, something like that, whatever. However, we all know that Mike didn't come to that fight prepared.
He wasn't prepared.
Right. And we didn't think Buster had a shot.
No, shit.
Right.
Ooh. All the other pay-per-views, you
Right.
wasted your money.
Now, what I'm saying to everybody is this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that D Block had to get too prepared because they stay ready. But Dipset didn't prepare themselves for this. Because even towards the end, when they started making comments like, let me tell you what's going to be next. Let me tell you, we going to make it. And then Wild Out came on. You see what I'm saying? So like y'all was getting that annoyed that y'all like, I'm going to tell you they show. Nah. You get
It was actually called Chasing Tyson.
Chasing Tyson. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But go ahead. Yeah, nah.
What I mean is, for all the people who grew up in the culture of understanding D Block and feeling like Dipset.
No doubt.
Was the ones that was going to win. No, you're entitled to your opinion. But I was riding with the Locks the whole time. Me and you talked about this.
Right.
Because I knew what they were prepared for. Like, if anybody knows now, just knows better. If Jadakiss is going to be in a versus, it's not smart to bet against him.
It's not.
It's not. Because it's not just his bars and lyrical content that he can do.
Right.
He's always prepared.
That's what I'm saying.
He prepared. Because let's say this. Let's think about it.
Mm-hmm.
The D Block and Dipset versus was held at the Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden. So COVID and stuff has died down a lot. So they were able to do a live show.
Okay.
It was all
That's
these
right.
crowds and everything. You know, we live very close to New York. So if you wanted to go, you had to be vaccinated, whatever. And I was looking for tickets, and because I'm vaccinated, and I was getting ready to try to get some. However, I'm like, man, it ain't going to be better than being in my living room.
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt.
Now, they put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you would have seen when Kiss did his verses against Fab, he put on a show. So every time he does it, he's putting on a show. And that alone makes him take the energy, because a battle is nothing but energy.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
not to take away from their bars, because we already know Kiss
no,
had,
it's not. It's not.
But the energy even, shit, like, God.
Yeah, no. I think what we saw, you know, that versus. Well, first off, everybody was, like you say all the time, there's never any losers. There's always a lesson. You know, everybody was a winner that night because, you know, they're going on tour. There's things to follow. You know, everybody was able to have a successful event. But just to kind of add, you know, support to what you were just saying.
Right.
In terms of the, you know, the preparation that goes into it and
Right.
the performance and the, you know, the showmanship, so to speak.
Right.
Like, one of the times when him and Styles went back to back,
That's my shit.
when you looked at it and you saw even the interaction with those guys, it was so in rhythm.
Right.
You know, if you're in any kind of competition, one of the things that you have the most, in my opinion, difficult time kind of trying to look at and not see that it's a strength in your opposition is that unity in movement.
Right.
Especially when you're talking about, performing. Like how he kept reiterating, he being Kiss, that if you guys gonna lip sing or sing over the lyrics,
Yeah.
then they could have stayed in the car and listened to Apple Music.
Yeah.
Which is where the Porch Podcast. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts. So, needless to say, the point in that situation, just to add once again a little bit of more support to what you were saying, is you can see in that performance, that verses, whatever you want to call it, the repetition that has gone into it. You can see the body of work not only through the lyrics, but just that not the verbal exercise element of it, but just I move to the left and y'all gonna shift to the right. Yeah. The showmanship. I'm gonna move this way, you gonna move that way. There was things that just made it just look so uneven.
Right.
And the bad part is that Dipset has hits. They have some good music. Yeah. They have some great things. I personally, and maybe people feel differently about it, find it very difficult to imagine the Lox' competition in the verses.
Me too.
I find it very difficult to imagine who that would be.
Because we're not even just talking about bars and lyrics. I'm talking, like we said, the showmanship, the way they do the show. I've witnessed Kiss perform in like standing there on stage behind him. Witnessed it. Like that's just what he does.
Yeah.
That's what they do. And that comes from being on the bad boy first. Like, then he wasn't gonna have it no other way. You had to put on the show.
Bro, they rhymed on the joint, the big joint.
That's what I'm saying.
All about the Benjamins, like, bruh, like when the whole concept came up about like with the lady songs, the songs for the ladies, like.
Yeah, everybody loved that part. And then
just
started running.
He was like, we got Grammys.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to be funny, but it seemed uneven. It didn't seem fair, Right. What I saw was a bunch of talented guys, but I saw one group of guys that looked like they've been doing it for a long time.
Long time. No matter what.
And that's the thing, man. Like, so, I'm quite sure, like I said, it's a little more than a week old now, and I think that if nothing else, people got an opportunity to see what hip-hop looks like when you do, perfect your craft.
Right.
When you do stay, like, on top of it, them guys look healthy.
Right.
Like, I ain't trying to be funny, but, like, everybody looked like they was in shape.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was great to see.
Yeah.
And it was great for the culture. It was great, and I hope that it continues to move forward. But the super duper winners was whoever the hell owns it.
Hip hop. Oh, Swiss.
I'm talking about
Swiss and Timberland.
Swiss and Timberland.
Yeah.
They're undefeated.
Especially if you go back and watch their shit who initially started it.
Yeah.
When they watched theirs was a long time. They was going back and forth with songs they produced. And they was sitting in the car, and the other one was sitting in a little studio. Like, they just got on Instagram, like, that bitch, this mine. This, like.
So let's do this, man. We kind of got away from it. This or that, man.
I'm with you.
All right, this or that. We ain't gonna make it, too crazy right out the gate.
It's gonna get there though.
Versus. Jay-Z and Nas.
That'll never happen.
Which is why we have to do a this or that, because like we're not gonna ever see it.
Nas is my favorite rapper, but Jay-Z will probably win in the verses.
Okay.
Because it's about people pick their hits. And let's just be honest. Jay-Z had hits over and over and over. You know what I mean? Until he didn't have them. Like, but Jay-Z could do I Just Want to Love You, Hard Knock Life, stuff like that. And especially depending where they at, it's just gonna be a big deal. You know what I mean? Because I think everybody gets caught up with the verses about having it being about bars, because that's what we want to think of. Because hip hop has always been competitive. So let's just see who lyrics are better. Last night was like one of the first times you seen.
Last week, I know.
What I mean, yeah, that's what I meant. It's the Earth Angel. It's the Earth Angel.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, hold on. Last week, you You know what I mean? You know what I was thinking about too was Diddy. Last night, that song.
Exactly.
Because I've been singing that shit all last couple days. But last week, what it was is bars was a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Last night.
Oh yeah. By far.
Last week because I'm fucking with this Earth Angel.
I know what you meant.
But it was still a big deal last night because
no doubt.
We was talking about it last night.
Oh, absolutely. Right. Which is why we're talking about it today. We can't get away from it.
Right.
Nah, it's I think that what we saw is just like I said once again, because of the history of both groups,
right.
It'll go longer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when we talked about the one with me and Smooth was talking about it, the one with the Battle of the Dogs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Snoop,
that's it. Snoop and next, yeah.
You know, when we seen that, like there's certain ones like, and then there's other ones like I'm not gonna say you didn't pay attention, but I didn't watch the Bow Wow and
never watched the Bow Wow,
Soulja Boy. Not to say it probably wasn't good. I just
I think my top 5.
I didn't catch it.
My top 5 because it's been a bunch. The 5 that are like last night. Why the fuck I keep saying? Listen, what you put in my Earth Angel?
Mm-hmm. No, it's the cocaine. No, I finally caught up.
No, I ain't told you no goddamn cocaine.
Must be the blow.
Must be the blow.
I'm drinking the same Earth Angel.
Yeah, but you switched something up.
I ain't switching nothing up, brother. Go ahead.
Last week.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last week.
Right.
Became my number 1. It just really reeled me.
It did it.
Yeah.
It was the first one I've ever watched in its entirety. Remember I told you that.
Yeah, last
the first
week.
one I saw was Swissin', obviously. Timberland.
Yeah, long
the
time.
The next
ago.
one I saw after that was Brandy and Monica.
Yeah. Cause your ladies watching.
That's exactly why. Yeah. Like let's keep it 100.
I think my top 5. That's number 1. Last week.
Okay.
X and Snoop might be number 2.
Okay. Wow.
I never watched it, but everybody said it was a great one.
They said the Keep Sweating Bobby Brown shit was good.
It probably was funny as shit, but Ray and Ghost. They said that one was a good one.
They made a lot of who did the Teddy Riley shit, man. Teddy Riley and who, man?
Oh, Babyface. Yeah, that one was a good one. That one had me singing and shit. I was at the front door, I had the door open, but
why did they clown that one?
No, because Teddy Riley had all this shit, like a band in the background, and the sound was fucked up.
Yeah, that was heavy COVID.
Yeah, that was heavy cocaine.
I didn't do that, man. Damn, listen, you know what I mean?
Listen to me though. Nah, Fake 3, where they had super energy at, but not the same. Red Meth. Okay, Red Meth. I can't get away from kissing Fab because Drunk Jada is still a big deal.
Man, if you sharp.
Yeah. And number 5.
Even if you're under the influence, man, you're still sharp.
He said it on a different interview. He said, man, that bottle of Deuce I had, it wasn't nothing but a shot left at the end of that bitch. I didn't even realize it. Yo, I really killed that. He killed that whole bottle, man. He said, I made money off of it.
Yeah.
Like, I made money off the whole Drunk Jada thing, man. Like, you ain't even see that little gif out there where they just got him like this? Because he drunk. I'll show you it. I'll show you how you crack it up. But, around that time. But Red Meth.
Okay.
Nice one. It was a nice one. All right.
Okay. So you listened to that, though, when it was about Nas and Jay.
I'm going to say Jay.
But you're going to go with Jay.
Jay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a Nas fan, all to the full, but I just think that, Jay would actually, if they doing it from their shows and how they do it, it would be super dope. Like if Nas really, because I've seen Nas perform.
True.
A couple times.
Question in the verses.
Right.
Your opinion. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't even have an answer myself, which is why I'm glad. I want to really hear yours.
Right.
If they did the verses with Lil Wayne, who does he do the verses with? Juvenile or somebody?
It'd have to, and I don't think people may not agree, it may not match because everybody else is on some other. If it's just rapping and not the sing part, I'm gonna say Drake, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Ooh, would you watch that?
Oh yeah,
that shit might get up there,
Oh yeah,
that might come close.
Yeah, because if you're just doing music like rap, you're not doing
Set the stage.
you're not doing
No, we just
not
doing rap.
singing. You just
No
doing
singing.
rap. Then because of the influence that they had on each other,
Right.
them two
Who wins?
can't tell you.
Sounds like we need to put the shit together.
They're not gonna never do it. Drake
Why?
Ain't gonna never do one. Chris Brown probably ain't never do one. Like,
I mean, I can't say that. I mean, if they don't do them, they don't do
because a
them.
lot of people used to
I'd
say,
like to see it.
A lot of people used to say, or like if you just going straight, in my opinion, a lot of people like, oh, Chris Brown and Usher. Okay, that sounds good. But if you just doing singing,
Yeah.
right, and you going with hits, like Chris got a lot of hits. Like music period. He got a lot of hits. But I'm thinking if you did Drake, it would have to be with somebody like Weezy because, you know what I mean,
That's a good one.
of the influence.
That's a good one.
But see, the rules of verses, you just had to either produce the song or write the song. Like, okay, when Kiss and Fab did theirs, he said, this next song, I wrote this song, right? But it wasn't him rapping. It was Diddy on Victory. Hey, yo, the sun don't shine forever, and as long as we're here, we gonna find us well shine together.
Yeah.
Better now than never. Business before pleasure.
Right.
Now, once he said and you start listening, like, damn, that
It
I
makes
can,
sense.
I can
You
hear
can
it.
hear
I
Kiss'
can
voice
hear it
say
now, right?
Yeah, that's how you know.
But he ain't give him. He gave him some bars, but he ain't give him his punchline bars. If you really think about it, let me just write this shit right
Well,
quick.
I think that when he did it,
Yeah.
it's crazy because, and this is how you know when you're creative, like super focused creative.
Right.
Even though it's his style of delivery,
Yeah.
not delivery, but the way it goes, he put himself in Puff mindset.
Right.
You know how dope you got to be to take your abilities
Yeah.
and put them in a different package and not inside of
I
another
don't know which
person
song
and do
it
that.
is, but you know
it's impressive,
who
man.
the other person who did that for Diddy was 50. A lot of people don't know.
Another one that can do it.
But the number one time that I seen that,
Mm-hmm.
that a person wrote a song for somebody and put theyself in their shoes was Jay-Z when he wrote Still Dre.
Yeah.
Hitting the corners with them Lolos, girls.
Yeah.
Like, thinking about it. When you think
Yeah.
about Dre,
Yeah.
still. Like, and he rhyming
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
love seeing black niggas get money. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you think about it, like, you start to think, because they said Jay wrote the hook and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, he wasn't even from
That's
L.A.
that
What?
shit we talking about though. Like when we was talking about how
Now, are they role models?
I was gonna get back to that.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying about the whole situation with Chuck.
Yeah.
Now, in their world, they have the ability to take their talent and put it in form for you
Right.
or the next person, so they can get away with saying I'm not a role model
Yeah.
and still watch how their work or their talents can be received by the person that you do view as a role model.
Right.
So in their case, it's even better,
Right.
in my opinion, because I can get away with telling you I'm not your role model.
Didn't they say that Jay-Z wrote, was it for the first Space Jam or something? He wrote a Bugs Bunny verse or something. I can't remember. what
Probably
he
did.
but They was talking
Because
about
that's where
on
those
the
people are
shop.
going to go. That's where those people are going to go, to the most talented people.
Yeah.
to
But
get that kind of
here's
stuff.
the thing, though. When you're actually working in purpose, it always gonna come together.
Every time.
Yeah, it's gonna always come together.
Every time.
Some things are just a pit stop, and you go through them, and then you realize that my time is ran up here, and purpose is keeping me
Right.
here.
It's a verbal exercise. I do all of those food for thoughts.
Right.
So that anytime that I'm in front of this now, even though this is not something that I was accustomed to doing before this,
Verbal exercise. Man.
right, it becomes a situation where now I do it and I can't wait to do this.
Yeah.
I don't want no delays. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like so that's how I move and that's how I think. But it's like anything else. And that's why I look at those guys, and like we said, just to reiterate, because this is episode 34 dealing with Chuck, it's okay to not be the role model. Because sometimes you don't understand the things that you got to say to shake things up.
Right.
So a person can understand it. Like when I read the rest of that quote to you, I'm not going to quote it again, but
Right.
the end all be all of it is it's not my job to raise your kids.
It's my job to live my life, man.
If I'm talented in the thing that I'm doing
Because I'm in my purpose.
and my kids actually, or your kids actually see me doing it
Right.
and want to emulate those things, that's a byproduct of my ability.
Right.
But all he was saying was, is at the end of the day, it's not my charge and my responsibility to raise your children.
Now let me ask you this. You know, I said I couldn't pick between Drake and Weezy.
Right.
But who do you see in a versus against somebody like Missy?
Well, I mean, you could probably maybe a Neo. Like you would have to do a weird one. I don't think it would be something as simple as.
It's hard because it's really
Just
nobody can go against it.
And I think in fairness, when you do verses, you shouldn't box a person in and say, well, you can't do that because if they excelled in that, that should be included.
That's why certain people could never do it.
Right. So if you
Can't
excel in
Drake
this,
doing
like
it.
you know how you said, like if we're not counting singing, like in essence, that's just to fix the fight. Like Kiss was saying, to fix the fight to make it a more fair situation. Nah, if your arsenal of what you have includes singing,
there's nothing you can do.
Right, because if I'm a fan of your verses and you sung in a verse, then I don't want you to omit that from the concept. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I did. I'm just, it's outside of my wheelhouse to create that concept of a battle for Missy.
Yeah.
But I know I understand what it does for the culture. I understand that, and I like that.
That's just like, even though I didn't watch the Bow Wow and Soulja Boy, I understood it. One that I didn't think, in my opinion, I think they just did it to fill in, was Rick Ross and 2 Chainz.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah, a lot of people just shout out to my nigga Tone Burke, man. Snoop Tone was the shit.
TB from the Snoop.
The shit was on, and then I'm just scrolling up my Facebook, and next thing you see a post of Tone. Man, this shit corny as hell, man. Like, what the fuck? That shit killed.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't. He brung out the strippers. Now, even Trina was one of the most, I guess, shocking ones for me. I thought Eve was just gonna handle it, but Trina actually won. Yeah, you know what I mean.
You'd be surprised, man.
Yeah, you'd be. Hey, wait a minute. You know what I mean. The Risen premiere was amazing as well, producer wise.
I seen it.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Who would Manny Fresh do on with?
Scott Storch.
They did it?
A long time ago. They did it, I think.
I know that was crazy.
Or was it Scott Storch and
I don't know. But Manny
or
Fresh
was it Scott Storch and T-Pain? I forgot. T-Pain did it with somebody. It might have been Scott Storch and T-Pain. Or T-Pain and Manny Fresh. I thought, man, I don't know. But Jonta Austin and Neo did one which was dope with R&B. That was nice.
Okay.
Because, they wrote a lot of music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why Babyface and Teddy Riley's was so dope. Because you can write the song, you can produce the song, you can perform the song. So they shit was big because it was like, oh, you was grown with it. You had this lady there with some wine or some bitch, you was lucky.
Who Charlie Wilson gonna do it?
He gonna have to go back and get Isaac Hayes or Barry White or somebody, man. You know what I mean? And shit like that. You gotta
get Ryan Isley.
Well, he did one. That was the one too. Damn, I forgot about the Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind and Fire.
Ooh,
shit.
Now,
that one.
I know at least 3 hips got dislocated that night when they was watching them because that broke. Now that's what I'm talking about.
That was one. You ever watch? Go back and watch.
I gotta go check that.
Go back and watch.
I gotta go check that one.
Make sure put a little blow in the ashtray for yourself.
Nah, not fucking with them. These bitches want me to be a drug addict because they did that. Nah, hell no. Nah. So
can he get your words straight?
No. I got him because I don't get high. But this is what I was gonna say was.
Around. Kids, we are not role models, but we don't get high.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to be a role model.
I am a role model,
I want to be a role model. Yeah. I don't mind being outside of my home as well.
No. I am a role model.
But what I will say is that if you're looking for a perfect role model, they don't exist.
They don't exist.
So I don't mind being a role model, but you have to take my imperfections with my strengths.
Right.
So with that being the case with that situation, we can move forward.
Right.
But what I was going to say is that I think at some point, But I don't know how receptive it'd be, but it'd be nice to me to see the two time frames kind of blend. I think at some point you do need to have verses with older groups and,
yeah,
and the younger
yeah,
ones.
it made sense. They did. When you sit back and you think about, you mean an older one with a younger group?
Right, like if you
Well,
like,
see, that's the thing that people they realize when it didn't kind of match up well, people just weren't interested, and they was losing because what's the name had over 1 million viewers at that time when they did it with Jill Scott and Erykah Badu did theirs.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
But
Because
yeah.
see, I think verses. Here's my thing: the word verses means different. It has a different meaning depending on the age group.
Right.
I think that if you're talking like you said before, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and who else you said it was, and the Isley Brothers,
Yeah.
you're thinking verses in the sense of the verses of the songs.
Right.
I think when you get younger, you thinking fight
Yeah.
verses.
I understand.
And so I think what has to kind of, I don't have to, because you said that they made the attempt first. I think sometimes, you know how you try to do something and it's like it's too soon.
Right.
It's not there yet. We don't have enough to compare it to. I think now that's happened.
No, I don't think they made the attempt earlier. I just when I mean that it just didn't match because they didn't do the young and old thing.
Okay.
No, they didn't do that. It's like this. I felt like when they did Rick and 2, right? 2 Chainz, right? Mm-hmm. And I like both of their music a lot. Mm-hmm. I think they was like, we got to do one, and they put on Pandora, and then other artists that came on said, "Dad, let's see if you know Titty Boy and Rose do this." Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think it goes more so like, again, if you cut on your Pandora and you go to a certain station,
Right.
they're trying to have, because it's about the culture of the night.
Right.
That's where I think it's easy for that to
It makes sense.
to mesh up.
No, it makes
like
sense.
what you're saying, what you're saying is, right away everybody thinks versus and competition. Well, it's competition because you got to compete anyway. But like fight, like you said,
Yeah.
But it's not about that. It's about the culture. So I think it just try to mesh up culture of the actual time. Because they want the night to, because music is timeless. They want the night to be based upon that time.
No, I get it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
that's
get
what
it.
I.
Nah,
That's what I think their goal is.
It may or may not work. I only thought about it from the perspective of, all right, for instance,
I think if they called it the best of verses,
maybe. But like when we were younger and we might have had to listen to Sade or something as we were cleaning up, or Whitney Houston or either Luther or
definitely
something like.
Whitney, yeah.
You know, when we were cleaning up as kids, we never considered that our music. But we had heard it so much on a Saturday or Sunday morning that we knew it.
Right.
So as we got older, we had a different appreciation for it because we kind of knew more about the content of what it was, talking about in the songs. I was only saying, like, it may work, but it's and I agree with you, I think that there's a very small group. I don't think that the group's big enough for it to really be as
that's what I'm saying.
I agree. I agree.
Effective.
Yeah. I agree.
But I
agree.
I think it'd be.
Definitely,
I think what you're saying is dope because you feel the way you feel because you like all music.
I'm in that small group.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we're in that small group.
You know
So that's why, like, me and you could sit here and watch it versus
Yeah.
that consisted of that.
Right.
Maybe if you were 10 years younger than us, 15 years younger,
Yeah.
maybe you couldn't.
Right.
Because we have that back history. So.
But with that being said, I want y'all to be in this small group, turn into a big group, and continue to love the Porch Podcast because
Absolutely.
we are here. You're going to get new episodes every week. Make sure you tune in, listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio.
Absolutely.
What's the other
Amazon
one?
Music.
Amazon Music.
Apple Podcasts.
Radio Public.
Radio Public, that's right.
And of course, you can watch our beautiful faces on YouTube on The Porch. DA.
Right. I'm handsome. That beautiful shit across the street.
PORCH podcast. I'm your boy DJ Mr. Influential.
And I'm P Original, y'all. We appreciate the time.
All right, y'all.
All right, man.
Peace.
Peace.